Here we go.
Here we go. Episode 3, baby.
Episode 3 of a most unpredictable.
That's right. And
life.
it's been a while since we recorded episode 2.
Yeah, it's been a month. Basically.
A month. My goodness.
Yeah, you decided you weren't sure if you really wanted to do this, I guess. So
no, I was afraid you were going to fire me.
No, you came up with a reason to try to bail out.
No, it's summertime. We've both been traveling.
Yeah, it's true.
Where have you been?
Yeah, so I was in Maryland for a wedding, and then
Who got married?
Yeah, so good friends of ours, where we used to live in Maryland, the family there that we rented from, we became good friends with them while we were there for 4 years, and great family, great people. Yeah. And so then their oldest daughter, just got married, and so she had an amazing wedding. It was a beautiful wedding. What
unique thing about the wedding did you say, hey kids, got to do that in your wedding?
Well, oh goodness. I mean, I got to have it at the Huber property. I need to have it up there. But, I guess when I think about it, I'll tell you what, it was just special. Yeah. Like when I looked at that, right, the family itself, like the whole thing about it was the family. Like it was so awesome. I mean, I felt, Karen was sitting right in front of me at the wedding. That's the mom of the bride. And then, the bride came up on a boat.
No way.
Yeah, with her father, and then
Chesapeake.
On the Chesapeake, yeah, he got off the boat with her, and then she came up, and I was just sitting there. I'll be honest with you, it's one of those moments where you're just sitting there saying, "What blessings going on here? Like this is amazing." Like watching
Sunset?
the mom. No, this was at 4 o'clock.
All right,
it was in the afternoon, and it was super hot that day, but it had cooled off. It was basically like it is here now. It's just it's like we're right next to the sun right now for some reason, but. It's so hot out, but it was like that day, but down by the water was so cool. But anyways, just a beautiful wedding. Being able to be it was special to be part of it.
Yes.
To be there, get invited. We were at the rehearsal dinner the night before, eating crabs, blue crabs, and picking that for hours. And then the wedding the next day, and then the brunch the final day.
So you were like a VIP here.
Well, I Scott and Karen, maybe thank you for treating us like a VIP. But no, I think it's just that's family and friendships, right? And how important they are, and I value them a lot. And so, it was just it was special. Nice. There was a time when I was like, man, I can't believe how special it felt to be able to be part of that whole thing.
Yeah. And your kids came along?
Yeah. So and Emily was like the youngest. I guess they weren't supposed to have kids there, but Emily was there, but Emily's special, and
she's 6 foot tall anyway. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she just But it was nice. It was such a nice wedding.
Oh, that's good. And
Tiffany,
then
best
you
of luck
were already down there.
Yep.
There was another big thing that happened.
Yeah. So then from there we went down and visited my son, who was graduating from his Coast Guard course as an electrician's mate.
Wow.
And his school, so now he's rated, and then so he graduated from the school, and on the same day then got promoted to Petty Officer 3rd class. So he's an EM3 now, which is pretty cool, and super proud of him. I mean, it's one of those just one of those again weekends and trips that it wasn't quite a vacation, I guess. We did go to King's Dominion one day too.
Okay.
And
that is an amusement park,
just like Kings Island, almost identical.
Yeah.
Like you would think you're in Kings Island.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we're in Ohio here, and you have Cedar Point and Kings Island. Terry loves Kings Island way more than Cedar Point. What?
No.
That's what you always say.
No, I do not. My first career was at Cedar Point.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's why, the one lady, so when we were at Kings Island this week, the one lady said, hey, what we heard, though? We heard that people went to all these different parks. Cedar Point was one of them, Dollywood. And they said, you know what? One of the best things we like about Kings Island is how much nicer the people are at Kings Island. And you know what I said? I said, I know a guy who worked at Cedar Point, and I think that's probably true.
Oh, ouch. Ouch. It's so much better. The background is you're on Lake Erie, not in the middle of a cornfield.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. But Cedar, I never, it's so funny. I never been, all these years, I'd never been to Kings Island ever in my life. That was the first time I ever went was just this week. But we were at the King's Dominion while we were down, which is right north of Richmond.
Yeah, so you sent me a picture of your family there, and it had the Eiffel Tower in the background. I said, you're either in Paris or you're at Kings Island.
And I said, no.
No. That's right. And so you're longtime Army, and here your son's Coast Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a mixed feelings.
Super proud. Yeah.
Super proud.
And just seeing him, it's one of those things I think I'm in that season getting to see my two oldest children really, go into this next phase of their life. And it's just, it's an awesome thing. It is just seeing them succeed and grow. So really, really cool. And loved it, and there were probably some tears, happy tears. Yeah. My wife, she cries at the national anthem, so she cried a lot of tears, but all happy.
Yeah.
Just to see our son, so proud of him, and he's home. He's been home now for a couple of weeks, which is
really
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, because he went with you to Kings Island.
Yeah.
And that was the occasion, or the kids?
No, just because they were home. Yeah, I wanted to spend time with them, and it was good to get everybody together and go out and do stuff.
You're a roller coaster guy?
I used to be a roller coaster guy. I only rode only one roller coaster while I was at Kings Island, and that was because a guy named Steve said, "Oh, you got to ride this." No, he said it was the worst coaster, but I ended up riding it anyways. But it was actually really fun. It was the oh goodness, I can't think of the name of it now. It's the indoor one it's like
there's an indoor roller coaster.
Yeah, an indoor roller coaster at Kings Island. It's pretty exciting.
Air conditioning?
It is air conditioned, yeah. So nice. It was so hot, but the line was the longest line. It was like an hour wait for us, even though like the other rides were like 10, 15 minutes.
You talk to people when you're in line?
I do have a tendency to talk to people.
And your family doesn't appreciate that?
I think they're used to it.
They're used to it.
Yeah, because
welcome to my world, yeah.
Because I did talk to quite a few different people, actually. I befriended a few people throughout the day. And I think at first they're like, what's going on? But then they're like, okay, this makes for a nice conversation. Yes. They appreciate it after we keep going. Meaning my family's like, oh, yeah. And we all start coming. Because, you find something in common in dialogue. So that was what I've been doing for the last few weeks. Yeah. There was something funny that happened, but I can't remember what it was. So I need to write some of this stuff down because I was like, I wanted to share a funny story.
And you're becoming now a legend at O'Neill's Monday night open mic night.
Nelly's. O'Nelly's, yeah. O'Neill's. We already settled this, yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I'm becoming a legend. There was literally, like, I went and played this Monday, so it was me, the guy running it, and then Tom.
Your pastor went.
Yeah, Tom came. Tom came and supported me.
So you just went back and forth between you and the host.
Yeah, I kind of hogged it the whole time. He played first, and then I hogged it for like
an hour. What was your best song?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have a best song.
Did you do one song without apologizing?
No, I have to apologize after every song.
Yeah.
I feel bad making everybody's ears hurt and then my poor play throughout. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been up to for the last month. Yeah. And, we don't plan there to be a month. We're actually planning on trying to somewhat get caught up. Yeah. But we wanted to get 4 in the bag before we actually. So you guys don't know this. We're recording. This is our 3rd episode, but we haven't even posted the first 2 yet. So we're going to post them next week, though.
All right. Really?
By the time you get this, it would have already been posted 3 weeks ago. So, anyways, however that works out. But yeah, that's been what we've been up to.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried on the recording. I'm hoping this is recording well, but I guess we'll just turn it up maybe. Yeah, it'll work.
Don't worry about it.
So, let's see, episode. So
speaking of,
what have you been doing?
Speaking of waiting in line for things, Europe right now is trying to change their entrance exits at their airports, their security, into countries, and so in Athens, Greece, on the way back home, my wife and I celebrated our 40th anniversary.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. Going 10 days
years
in Greece. And we stood in the security line for 2.5 hours.
Wow.
At the Athens airport, ready to come back home. And but like you, I just make friends. So the line is just snaking back and forth, back and forth. So I strike up a conversation with a couple of Israelis going to Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
And we talk for a little bit, and then the line moves. And about 15 minutes later, you're going to see him again.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with somebody from Barcelona. I had a conversation with people in Tel Aviv.
Not the people right next to you.
No,
left to right.
No.
You had like
there's one person, from
you had like a rotisserie going
from America, from Georgia area, and we. We kept moving, so I'd have, catch up for another 2 minutes. Hey, you mentioned this. Tell me more about that. And then we just stayed around. Before you knew it, 2.5 hours was over.
Did they think you were crazy?
Well, my wife kind of rolled her eyes.
I meant the people that you were talking to.
No, they loved it because everybody's...
Or were they just being very
just
polite?
Standing there.
People in other countries usually are just polite.
when people stand in line, I'm expecting that it would make enjoyable if you had a conversation with somebody. So I'm the one that starts it.
In today's world of social media too.
Well, I don't do it on the social media.
No, I'm saying they probably wanted to be on their phone or something.
Oh, they probably did.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's just.
I think it's good.
It's real people.
I gotta admit, I do the same thing.
Do you?
Yeah.
And
start off. Where are you from? Where are you from?
my wife rolls her eyes and apologizes.
What's your opening line?
But then,
normally?
Hey, where are you from?
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah,
where are you from?
That's my opening.
Tell me
line.
something you like about where you're from.
Yeah.
And before you know it, they're telling you the story.
Yeah, that's good.
And then my wife, after 2.5 hours, she said, "That was amazing. How do you do that?" But I said, "But you rolled your eyes and apologized when I introduced myself."
Well, we'll find out if this is all after when Kelly watches episode 3, if she agrees.
Athens, Greece is amazing. This weekend is 4th of July weekend here in America, and we're 250th birthday of our independence. I was in Athens, Greece, looking at buildings that were put up 2,500 years ago.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Wild.
That's pretty amazing. So
pretty good architecture, I guess.
Yes, and then we did 3 days in Athens, and then 5 days on this amazing Greek island called Naxos. Just, I mean, when I grow up, I want to be Greek.
No, it's fine.
No, I want to be Greek.
Yeah. Until you go to England, and then you'll want to be English, and then you go to Scotland, or if you go to German.
I don't know. Maybe I'll spit in a cup and tell me what I really am.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing to do. I've done it.
Have you done it?
Yeah.
What are you?
Well, I'm a lot of English and a lot of Scottish and a lot of Irish, and then I got some Northern, like European, meaning like Germany and France there.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I found out. Actually, I found in one of them I've got some Southern Indian in me.
No way.
So yeah, so when I see
Honeycomb.
No, when I see Kingsley,
yeah,
I call him my brother now. We're related. He's my brother. We're related.
Right.
Kingsley.
Sweet.
Perrine, I sent it to Perrine, my good friend Perrine and he'll be not this episode. He'll be like 3 episodes from now or 4 episodes probably in there. But and he was like, "No way!" You know,
you really trust these things?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I guess I do.
Yeah, you don't really. But now you know what teams to root for in the World Cup.
Well, I still root for the U.S.
That's good of you.
I did have a little bit of yesterday with the World Cup. I did have a little bit of. I was obviously rooting for the United States. But having served in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and they were talking about one of the guys, and he remembers when he was a child, and I just thought, man, who knows? One of these kids I might have been around, because I went to elementary schools and spent time there for 9 months. So I was like, that's very interesting. I root if they were playing anybody other than the United States, I probably would have been rooting for them, just so. It's one of those things like you're like I was part of that storyline and want to see their success and all that kind of good stuff.
One of the players on the U.S. national men's team, he's one of the standouts on that team in the World Cup, and he went to Orange High School.
Oh, did he? I did not know that.
Berhart, I think his name was.
Oh, that's so cool.
And his dad was the coach for the Columbus Crew, and everybody loved him. Yeah. And he, for a while, was the coach there.
Yeah.
Now, he never played in Orange High School soccer team because he was part of the Columbus Crew Academy.
Yeah.
But way to go. Hometown roots in the World Cup.
I think my neighbor's kid played in one of these academies or something. Something like that. He was going to Berlin, but he would play in this academy, and he did that for a little bit, I think. Yeah. He's really good, the neighbor kid.
Okay, so episode 3.
We're in episode 3. I guess before we move on, Most Unpredictable Life. The reason it's a most unpredictable life, if you haven't been paying attention, if you haven't listened to, I hate saying that, it sounds rude. I haven't been paying attention. If you haven't heard episode 1, but so A Most Unpredictable Life, when I was a senior in high school in 1992, my senior superlative, I was named Most Unpredictable. So we named it A Most Unpredictable Life based on that senior superlative. And also just like, you never know where life's going to take you. So here we are, episode 3, and I'm Jeremy, and this is Terry. See, I'm just introducing everybody.
That's all right.
And we're going to go into episode 3, and we're glad you're here, and we hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
This is going to be a long one, though. We have a lot this episode, so we've already talked somehow almost 15 minutes.
Bunch of stories.
Yeah, a bunch of stories. So I'll let you kick it off.
What year are we?
So 92 into 93. So we started this in 92. We went back to 1973 to 1978, and we're currently at the end of 90. So I realized it's kind of hard just to do like 92, 93, 94.
Okay.
Especially since life, in this case, it's kind of school years.
Yes, right.
So this kind of takes me. So this episode is like end of 92, like my freshman year of college, through my freshman year of college into 93, and then into the summer. I don't think I go into the end of 90 at the end of I don't start my sophomore year. So, we'll have to go back. So the years will be not just straight 92 and 93. They'll actually probably in most cases fall in line with probably like where I was at in school and things like that.
So one of the episodes you talked about arriving on campus, and this episode we're going to get into what really was the first year like.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
How did my first year? Remember, I just signed up for whatever the guy in front of me told me to do.
Yeah.
And then I went on, and then we started the school year just like let's do this.
Yeah.
So
all right. So these episodes, you want to do a broad picture of 1992 before then, like what kind of music you were listening to and all that. You want to go there or where?
Yeah, I think, we can. Let's see. I can't remember. Let's see. 1992. I have my notes here. Let me grab them. That's why we have these notes, so we feel more official. But I do remember, like, my 1992, I think the big song, or for me, it was Smashing Pumpkins, I believe, was like my first CD I think I ever bought.
Smashing Pumpkins.
Smashing Pumpkins. And they're Chicago.
Is that because you did it your freshman year?
Yeah, no. It was they were just a big band, and they were from Chicago, and so I had listened to music. I never really bought music before I went to college.
Okay.
I'd listen to the radio. We'd put the cassette tape in, hit record if we liked the song. My brothers had some cassette tapes.
Oh yeah, right.
But at this point now CDs have come along, and so I didn't own a CD player yet. I remember going and buying one. I don't know if that was my freshman year or my sophomore year. I don't remember when I bought it. It was like a Memorex, right? One of those like table ones. I think, did I buy that? Or my roommate had it. Maybe my roommate had it. And so, I joined BMG, the BMG Columbia Records.
Right.
You buy one CD.
How did that go?
It actually didn't work. I was always worried it was going to be a big problem. Because you're supposed to buy like one CD a month or so. I forget what the rules were, but they give you like 12 CDs for a penny or something.
12 CDs for a penny.
Yeah, and then that was the way to get you to.
But then there's always this contract that
this contract. That's right.
And they kept sending them.
Yep, that's right. They keep sending them, and you have to mail them back.
You can either return it for a price or just pay for it.
That's right. And somehow I think I did okay with that. But yeah.
All right.
But I remember it was pretty exciting to pick out my first 10 or 12
first
CDs.
Collection. What other CDs were in there?
Let's see. I remember Smashing Pumpkins. I think I got Soul Asylum.
Never heard of that band. Were these like loud rock and roll? Was it metal?
This is 90s like alternative rock, I would say.
Does that mean pounding?
No,
metal?
I'll have to let you listen to some Soul Asylum and some Runaway Train. You remember that song?
No.
And then and then Smashing Pumpkins. They had some really Today, Disarm. They redid 1979 from Stevie Nicks' and that.
I know Stevie Nicks. I know.
Yeah, you know the song 1979?
No.
I think she wrote that song. I could be wrong. But they redid that song. But then I had, like Stone Temple Pilots, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam. I've heard of Pearl Jam.
There you go, Jeremy. That song, Jeremy.
They had a song called Jeremy?
Yeah, they did.
No wonder you liked them.
Yeah. I think that was probably a good set of the ones I had. Lemonheads. Let's see who else did I have.
Yeah.
It's the ones I just kind of remember those.
All right.
But
what other was happening in culture? Movies?
I don't remember the main movies. Oh yeah, you got to help me flip to the right page. I see. That's how I keep forgetting we set it up like this. I need to review the notes before we come in.
It might be nice.
Well, it's been only a month since we did this. Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
That's
scary.
the summer of '93. That was a big movie, though.
Yeah, it was scary.
That was that is one of the few movies. I remember when, I'm sure this happened to a lot of people. I don't know if it was scary, but it was amazing to me.
You weren't scared?
No, I was amazed. I remember sitting there just like they were in the movie, the actors in the movie, and what I felt when they came along and you saw that first like brontosaurus. I was like, that looks like a real live.
Yeah, what special effects they
had.
It
just was like, and you see it stand up or whatever. I think it stood up, but it was just walking there.
Yeah.
And my breath was taken away. I was like, oh my goodness. Nowadays, that's just like everybody's like, yeah, it's CGI and all that. That looked amazing.
That was realistic.
That was like the beginning,
so popular.
The beginning of it all. That movie.
What other movies?
Mrs. Doubtfire. That was a great movie. I love Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that just recently. Robin Williams is, I just loved Robin Williams. There's something special about him.
Yeah.
The Fugitive, that was a great movie.
Well, Harrison Ford, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that really was a good movie. He had to prove his innocence. Nobody believed him, and he did.
So one of those movies you're just so frustrated. I was young, but I was still frustrated. Like, come on, man. The guy, he's being, but you know.
Who's the guy that played the marshal?
Oh,
Tommy Lee
Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones. And what I remember about that movie is he actually was open-minded to the fact that maybe this guy isn't guilty.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have ended the way it did. He had to believe it. Yeah.
Oh, Sleepless in Seattle. That was a pretty good one.
Yes.
And then Schindler's List. What a year for movies, though.
Schindler's List.
Awesome year.
I
can't imagine that many.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Really? That's a pretty good movie.
People came out of it saying, this is one of those movies that nobody talks when it's over.
Yeah.
You leave the theater silent.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I think just the, like, it's the unbelief of what had happened. And I can't believe this happened. I can't believe people watched it or let it happen. And just the sadness of that whole thing. And the way they end it too, if I remember, has it's just like a wild, like not wild, touching, like thought-provoking ending. It's been a long time since I watched it. Yeah. But the thing is, and I don't, if you ever watch it, I don't want to, but like, I just remember like one scene at the end that kind of still sticks with me.
So it's a movie about a guy who's trying to rescue some of the children.
That's right.
From the gas chambers or whatever. Now, something else happened in this time period that sort of intersects with your freshman year, and that has to do with technology and the invention of the World Wide Web. I remember at first it was just for libraries and stuff like that.
Yeah, Al Gore, right? He invented the internet.
That's what I hear.
No, so this was an interesting year, right? I just happened to be at school. I didn't have a computer growing up.
No.
And I didn't have a computer when I went to school. My roommate had a computer, I think, and then other people on the floor. I was like the kid that would run down and be like, "You had a computer?" Like my son would do with my other son when he had a cool toy. He'd like butter up next to him, and be like, "Can I play with that?" Kind of. And that's the way it was. But so all these like video games, everything was like 286s and 386s. That was the big computers. And we won't go into all the geeky stuff on the computers, but I do know a little bit about all that.
I have no idea.
But I remember going into the library and I sat down and I opened up, they showed me how to open up Netscape. And I just was like, well, this is kind of interesting. Look at all this stuff I can look up. www, what like different. Now, there wasn't everything like there is today, right?
Yeah.
If I had known, I mean, who knows what we could have, like, I wouldn't be, I mean, there were people that did understand that www dot something meant a lot of money and a lot of things, but.
Oh, you were thinking you would have bought up Ford.com and Chevy.com.
You could have. I mean, just all
Pepsi.com,
kinds of.
And then resold them.
Yeah. And, but it was I remember being a freshman and opening it up and I'm just looking at this stuff and it's like, oh, this is kind of cool, right? Learning all this. What I didn't realize is that was the very beginning. That's it. Like I'm part of the very first people typing www on Netscape because you had the internet, which we were using the internet also through a VAX system. We had I
don't know what that is.
So it's a massive computer within, like, universities had them.
Okay.
And that's what you would log on and you would get your username and an email address. And I still remember my first, it was Louis Jer, because it was always your last four letters of your, or the first four letters of your last name and the three letters of your first name. And that was your username. That was like everybody's. Okay. I still call people that. Like I can still remember, Kelmat and Nail Jace, and like you just remember,
right.
like there's plenty of other ones out there, but yeah, Knockovan. But you log on to this, and then you could, at that time, we would log on and we'd get in these muds like Nirvana and play. So kind of like
mud.
Yeah, it was like a multi-user dimension.
Okay.
So it was like playing like kind of like a role-playing game, but it was all text. So it would describe like the room to you, and you'd be in there with other people. So it's like the first
in different locations. People
yeah,
would be in
from all over the place, people playing. But this specific mud was hosted on the IIT VAX in Illinois.
Okay, because people didn't have personal computers.
Well, they did, but it was the first time you could like log on and play with people in other places. But it was all text, and so you'd battle and fight and go on quests together. Very interesting kind of stuff. But you had that, and then you would telnet. We would telnet into that, or you would relay, go on these chat relays. So you do like chat relay at Cornell University, do a chat relay, and then you log into a bulletin board, and you're in there chatting with people from all over the United States.
Amazing.
Yeah, and of course you had AOL that started some chats.
Yeah.
But that was the very beginning of it. It was kind of wild, and part of it I didn't know, but I never had a computer, so I didn't know this is brand probably new at the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know a lot of things, I guess, at that time. But,
all right, so first year of school.
Yeah.
Tell me about what that was like. Tell me about you always call it South 2 or your dorm.
Oh, Second South?
Second South.
Second South.
And you had some friends there you made?
Yeah, so Second South was predominantly the school didn't have a lot of ROTC cadets, and so they brought in a ton of ROTC cadets my freshman year.
Oh, okay.
And so there was like 5 or 6 before, and then when they brought in like 80 of us Army guys, and then they brought I don't know how many Air Force and Navy in, so they probably been on 150 different ROTC cadets that year, and so they put a lot of us. We got free room and board, so it was kind of like there was a wing and it had 4 floors, and they put us all in there. So my floor was predominantly a mixture of Army, ROTC, Navy, and Air Force.
Wow. So we're going to come back to these relationships and the crazy stories you had during your freshman year. But let me go back to the family. So your family, in previous episodes, you were all over the board, but there was a wedding in October of your brother that the family all came together. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so that my brother Jason, my second oldest, he got married. He got married to Deb, who they had dated all through high school and stuff. So they got married, and so I was in college. Yeah, and I believe it was in October. So I was coming home. I went home for the wedding, but when I went home for the wedding, I hadn't been talking to my dad since end of my senior year of high school. So, so it was a pretty big wedding, so we're bringing everybody. My brother obviously, and and he was always good at that. Still is. But
so your dad and your mom were both coming.
Yeah, my mom. Yeah, so my dad's gonna be there. I'm coming in from Chicago, and then my mom, who we haven't really gone into a full lot of detail on, but she was on the run. She'd been a fugitive in California, and had a bench warrant for arrest in the state of Ohio. So she's coming back for the wedding.
She's determined to come back.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool thing.
Married.
Yep, that's right.
And so you confront your dad. You sidestep your dad.
Yeah, so I sidestepped the whole time pretty much. And my mom was there too. My mom was there. So I was spending a lot of time with my mom.
Oh, okay.
And obviously my brothers and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I did sidestep my dad. I didn't really see much of him during that wedding. We kind of just sidestepped and avoided everything. And honestly, I think back, it was like my first. It's weird. I don't remember attending many weddings growing up.
Okay.
I mean, my mom, you think I'd attend a lot. My mom was married 4 times. But,
yeah.
But the reality was, and that was like probably my first wedding. So I didn't really know how they were supposed to go.
Mom and dad aren't on good terms.
No, not at all. No.
Were you afraid that dad was going to turn mom in?
Well, my mom was afraid. Yeah, my mom was afraid that my dad would turn she was always afraid to come back to Ohio because she was worried that my dad would turn her. My dad's phrase was, why would I want that woman in the state of Ohio any longer than she needs to be?
Wow.
So that just kind of gives you a little kind of sense of even if she was in jail, right?
Yeah.
So that was like a little sense of their relationship, probably.
Sure.
So.
Well, probably a lot of our listeners, a lot of our watchers are in these kind of, or have memories of their family being so dysfunctional like this.
Hey, you know what?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you can't spell dysfunctional without fun.
Oh, I suppose that's true.
I don't know if anybody else ever said that, but I used to think that all the time. Well, you can't spell dysfunctional without fun. But fun isn't functional too. So.
Yeah. So this wedding.
Yeah.
And then Thanksgiving was the next month. Does everybody go home for Thanksgiving? And
yeah, so we had the wedding, and I think everything went pretty well. It was an interesting thing, and then so then after that, having not talked, I came back home for Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember coming home for Thanksgiving, yeah.
Were Mom and Dad both there for that?
No, my mom was not there for Thanksgiving.
She had fled again.
Yeah, I don't know when's the last, I don't know. She didn't come back to Ohio very often.
Mm-hmm.
But she was back. I was back for Thanksgiving, but she was not. Yeah.
But you seem to indicate that something changed in your relationship with your dad.
Well, I wouldn't say anything changed. What happened was, I remember coming back, and so just for people to know, when I went off to college, I left from Rich's house. I was living with Rich. Really had spent the last few days staying at my girlfriend's house, Julie, with her parents and stuff. They were great and took care of me. And so once I went off to college, and when I came back, Jason and Deb, because they got married, they had bought a trailer. So they had a trailer in a trailer park. And really nice. It was really a brand new trailer. And so they gave me a room there. So when I came home in Thanksgiving, I think that's where I went back to.
Oh, okay.
And I stayed at Jason and Deb's there in the trailer in Ashland, Ohio. And while I was there, I don't remember how it went down. I just remember Deb asking me to come to the house, and I forget why, where my dad lived. I don't remember.
Dad lived.
Yeah, there was a little bit, but she basically set this up. She basically, my sister-in-law, she basically invited me and my dad to come there. But it's at his house, so I'm trying to figure this all out. I was there to pick up something, and so I just remember being there. It was kind of awkward, and my dad and Deb was there. And Deb basically talked to my dad, I think, and talked to me and said, basically, you guys need to talk, kind of thing.
What do they call that when they force people together and you're going to have a...
Yeah, it's like an intervention.
Intervention is the word I was looking for, yeah.
Like an intervention. And that's kind of how I remember it somewhat, right?
And how did it
go?
So
I remember we were in the back, and so... my dad came up, and I think in his way of trying to figure out how to reconcile, he must have known too.
He wanted to.
Yeah, he was there to reconcile. I was not there to reconcile. I didn't. Yeah. I don't know. It wasn't that. So just so you know, I wasn't holding any grudges. I'm not somebody who walks around with grudge. I just kind of had moved on. I hate saying it like that in a way, but I guess I just kind of moved on. Like maybe this isn't part of my life in a way.
Right.
I mean, I'm young. I'm 18, but my dad was there. I mean, obviously, I love my dad, but he was actually there to reconcile a little bit. And so I remember he gave me an envelope, and it had money in it. And I looked in it, and I don't remember how much it was, but I was like, "Thanks for the money," and I just handed it back to him.
Oh, kind of. You were that guy.
Yeah, I was that guy. And was like, look, I don't.
Here, you're trying, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. And then I remember I walked. Like it's just kind of like a movie almost, right?
Yeah, sounds like a movie.
I walked out the back of the house, out the door, and then there was a picnic table there. And I remember I sat down. I don't know if Deb came out or Dad or they both came out, and they sat down next to me. And it was cold. This is Ohio. It's
Thanksgiving. You don't know.
It was overcast. It wasn't warm out, and I can almost picture that like Deb's sweater and stuff that she had on. But Dad came out and then he said, well, what, he basically laid out like, well, what do you want then? Right. You know, what would you like? Right. I think that was his way of trying to reconcile. And then he just did probably the best thing, which is, okay, so what, like, how do you feel? What do you want? And you know what I said? I said, look, I just want a relationship with you outside of this. This probably doesn't sound great either. I hate doing this on a podcast in a way that I don't want anybody to look bad, or it's, you know, right. And probably a lot of stuff is on me, but I basically said, I want a relationship outside of like my stepmother and some of the issues that we were having.
Okay.
So I was like, look, I just want to make sure that you and I are able to have a good, solid relationship.
Okay.
And talk, have an open line of communication and talk outside that. Now, that's me putting blame probably not always in the right spot, okay. I think, in the past. I mean, we'll just fast forward a little bit. I want to say that my stepmother and I would definitely reconcile shortly thereafter.
Good.
And again, I wasn't somebody held. I don't believe I hold a grudge, but it was definitely, there was a barrier there, I felt.
Sure.
And so, and that was part of me leaving back in the day and all that. So, but I do believe it always takes two to tango, right?
Yeah.
And so I definitely, at the end now in my life, I look back and say, you know, I definitely had a part in that. So
you look back on that Thanksgiving as my dad and I turned over a new leaf.
We did. Yep. And after that, I'll be honest with you, after that, I don't think we had any conflict ever again. It's wild. Like him and I grew very, very close.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making me get a little. I gotta watch.
A little emotional.
I gotta.
There's a hero in this story, and I think it's your sister-in-law.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. See?
And you would tell people. I mean, a lot of people, dysfunctional families.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You'd say, don't waste years.
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, from my perspective, Deb was always, she still is such a level-headed person. Was very level-headed back then. She came from I would say, a highly functional family.
Yeah. And
with, you know, the ability to resolve conflict probably more appropriately. Something I've never, you know, I think I've grown and gotten better at it.
Sure.
But yeah, at that moment, Deb, absolutely. She saw something and said this is what needs to happen, and played a part in making it happen. Yeah. And I don't know the backstory with her and my dad. Maybe there's more to that story. No. But from my side of it, it was, I showed up not expecting to talk to my dad and reconcile, to that conversation happening, and then that reconciliation happening with my dad, and then reconciliation with my stepmom, who, you know, she just basically finally came to me and said, look, you know, I was a 30-year-old woman raising 5 kids that weren't my own, basically, or younger, I guess you would say, and I was young and I didn't know, and so yeah, I things happened, and treated, you know, and
change your perspective.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I honestly would think that over time, you know, that importance of grace.
Yeah.
And, you know, our relationship grew too, and it was amazing, man, you know, and I loved my dad, and I loved Cindy and my stepmom, but yeah, we went through some stuff together.
Yeah. But way to go for Dad that he would come and
no, absolutely,
and not give up too soon, and way to go for you that you opened your heart to let that happen.
Yeah.
All right, let's transition to some funner stories.
Yeah, let's come on now.
Take me back to campus. You're at Illinois Tech.
Yeah, I'm at Illinois Tech.
And
I went through the wedding. I went through the Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But talk to me about the Brotherhood from Second South. You already said there's a bunch of you that are recruits. We're here on segment 3 if you're looking for yourself.
So, you know, probably, you know, that's your freshman year. You spend a lot of time just sitting in the hallway late at night.
Yeah.
I don't know why you just do. I don't know. I thought we just did it, but I learned a lot of people do that. And you just sit around like the sharing stories, like, hey, where are you from? Where are you from? Going back and forth, ribbing, arguing a little bit, some tension, but a lot of funny, really funny stuff going on.
You started playing games.
Yeah, and then the board games, board game night, we'd play a lot of that.
And what kind of board games did you play?
You know, we're all military, so a lot of strategy games.
Okay. What were some of those?
Well, you know, we played like Axis and Allies was huge.
Okay. This was World War II.
World War II,
And you're playing, so who played the bad guys?
You know, there were a couple guys. I had never played any of these board games before, right?
You've never played Risk?
No, I'd only played like Monopoly, say, and like some of those basic board games. And I loved playing Monopoly,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize all these other games exist. So I went to college, and then my friends and I love board games this day. Like, just so you guys know, maybe eventually I have my board game. I have a board game table. I've got a board game shelf with all my board games on it. You know, we have a lot of board game nights. That's kind of where this literally all started my freshman year.
Yeah.
A guy named Matt Kelly, which we've already talked about. Tom S. I got to watch. I guess I use people's first and last names, but you know, these guys taught me. We played Supremacy, Axis and Allies. This game called Line in the Sand, which is kind of, I mean, some of these games get very complex. When you play for hours. But one of the games was this game called Diplomacy.
Oh, tell me about this. I've heard a little bit about this game.
Yeah, Diplomacy. There's no dice. There's nothing I don't think there is. But basically, we form alliances. There's and you have to write down on paper what you're going to do. So you and I may form an alliance. Well, it's kind of like Survivor.
I was just about to say,
Eventually, I'm going to have to betray you to win the game.
Yeah.
And I remember one night there was a very bad betrayal, and Matt. Matt was
in the game.
And Matt ended up destroying. Sorry, Matt, I'm busting you out here, but he destroyed a chair. He grabs a chair. He's so angry, and he destroyed it. And Matt's not an angry guy, not at all. You know,
I met him.
Yeah, he's very good. You know, I don't think I ever saw Matt really ever get upset, except for I think that's what games do to you, though. They can make you up.
I suppose.
But Diplomacy, I think, was enough. And I can't remember Chip was his name. Chip. I can't remember the people there that like where the backstabbing came from. I didn't do it. But it caused massive rage. But we should get Diplomacy and play it sometime. You would probably like it because you're a Survivor guy.
These games where you gotta be somebody you're really not. Like I'm not Merlin or I'm not whatever, and I don't know. I liked Risk, but what does this say about my strategic world domination game? That I would win Risk a lot, but my strategy was to be Australia and not participate in any of the battles until everybody's weak, and then I come in and I win.
So, like, if you have a lot of other players, you're better off. But if it was just you versus like
no, not two-person game,
2 or 3 players.
But it's like we played 4 or 5 of it. I don't know how many colors there were.
Yeah, Australia is a great
strategy.
Yeah, it's a great place to be for playing because you don't get a lot of points, but you're backed into the corner down there.
You're back in the corner, and people don't think you're very much a danger. And so the other one I played, you remember Stratego?
You know, I saw the commercials, and I would always be like, man, that looks like such a cool game when he like lays over the piece on the commercial. I'd be like, oh, but that was we weren't able to. That was outside our budget.
No.
I don't know. I never had Strive. I only played, like I said, I played what?
Stratego was like a board, and you had to. But this is where I learned.
Wasn't there little pieces that look like flags or something? Though
there was a flag, and there was a bomb, and a miner who took care of bombs. But you got to learn ranks.
You learned ranks.
The general, the lieutenant, the sergeant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're true or not. Okay, and so you guys bonded this crew of recruits.
Yep, and we came close over board games, and then we had our big, probably the big events that year.
Tell me about. So this is your opening semester, and at the end of the semester, before Christmas break, you had a Christmas party.
We did.
Tell me about the Christmas party.
I don't know whose idea. This wasn't my idea, but somebody was genius, really. Like, we just were well bonded. We were a fraternity, really, is what we were. You know, so we think of fraternities in colleges. We had become our own fraternity, Second South, which would last all 4 years, and a few people would come and go, but overall there was still a lot of core of us there. But we had this big Christmas party our freshman year, which honestly, you'll hear us talk about it. We did it all 4 years. All 4 years of college, we'd have this massive. But the first one was our freshman year. And what we did was I don't know when we started. I don't know if it was right. Somebody had the foresight on this. We started very early. Every time you drank a soda, you would drink the soda. You'd walk into the lounge. Each floor had its own little lounge.
Yes.
And in one of the walls, we just started in the corner. We stack a can, and we go up on the chalkboard and write the number down.
Okay.
So if you walked in there and there was 73 on there and you added your can, you would erase it, put 74, and put your can on the wall. And actually, we stacked up almost the entire wall with cans. And then and that lasted, we kept making like more and more. It's like a pyramid at one point.
Yeah.
It was very large. And somebody went in there like one night, they'd been drinking and knocked it all over.
Oh,
and
no.
it was a mess. But one of our friends, Randy, then took all the cans. Him and somebody else, they took all the cans, drove all the way to Michigan, which really is not that far because you're just going from Chicago down around Indiana on the other side.
Yeah.
And he might have been going home. He's from Michigan, so he might have gone home over the weekend. Loaded his car up and got 10 cents a can.
Oh, deposit money, yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know now. From later, I've heard, I don't think that you're allowed to do that. But
how's anybody going to know?
Yeah, back in 1992, because I guess in Michigan, they're paying the 10 cents when you buy it, the deposit. Yeah. So that's why you get more.
Is this $50, $100, $1,000?
Oh, it was like $600-$700.
That you put a party on back in 93.
Yeah.
And so it was like a pretty big party.
It was a massive party, yeah. So we blocked off like the stairs. It was probably one of the biggest parties there. You know, outside even maybe some of the fraternities, I would say.
Yeah.
But it was a massive party. I got a picture somewhere, but it was just fun, right? I didn't drink alcohol back then, and but I remember it was such a blast and everybody had a great time. But that was the beginning of an epic annual Christmas party.
Okay,
and I got to bring that up.
You said we were kind of like a fraternity, but you've also talked about you kind of had this arch enemy on campus with fraternities.
Yes.
So to call yourself a fraternity, well, it's a place. A fraternity is a place where everybody is kind of like-minded and they become like a family.
Yep.
And you had become like that. But what was it about the fraternities that you didn't like?
Well, there was probably a lot of things.
Okay, here we go.
I don't know, right? Like, I went off to college.
Yeah.
I didn't understand any of these things, right?
Yeah.
Like even what a fraternity was. Even though I'd watched movies.
Yeah.
You know, Animal House, I guess, right? Like who knows what other movies I watched growing up. The Revenge of the Nerds, I think that had fraternities in it. But it never clicked in my head like what these were and because I never understood what the college experience was.
Well, I've met people in fraternities and sororities that talk about it, and they weren't at all what I thought they were. I mean, I think people make lifelong friends, but when I went to school, I thought these are people that think they're better than everybody else.
Yeah.
And is that what you thought?
Well, I think so. I think the fraternities there somehow in my mind were one, they thought they were better. Because why would you leave, like especially some of the cadets, why would you go hang out over there? Well, and you got us to hang out with, right? No,
okay.
But yeah, you couldn't just go in. Like I didn't understand that either. Like, wait a second, like I can't just go into the fraternity. Like, what is that? Like,
yeah.
No, you have to be invited to get into the fraternity, and then if they have a party, you got to have permission from somebody else. And I didn't go to any parties really my freshman year much, but you had to have an invite to go into the party, which I thought was strange.
Yeah.
And then they were like the ROTC girls that we had, they were all hanging out with the fraternity guys, right? And I'm like, wait a second. These are our girls.
So you put on a party that beat on any other party.
Yeah.
But how did the fraternity people treat the cadets?
Well, so in the past, what happened was before all these cadets showed up, right?
Yeah.
I guess, my understanding was the tradition was because the dorms didn't have, whatever reason, they thought the fraternities thought they were better. They would come across the street. There was they sat over in this quad, and then there was this big wide open field, and then there was the dorms. And I guess on the first snowfall, the way it was explained to me, big major snowfall, some of the fraternities would come over, and as the people would walk out of the dorms, they'd basically tackle them and rub their face in the snow and cover them in snow.
Oh, because they could. Who's going to stand up to the bully?
Exactly, because they could. And they would do that to a lot of them or impel them with snowballs and kind of like a pseudo snowball fight. I think it's more in a snowball fight, though. It was literally tackling them and rubbing their face in. So I remember one day, and I'm sitting in my dorm doing my homework. I don't know if I was doing my homework. I never did homework hardly, but everybody else would be like, no, Lewis never did homework. He was roaming room to room. But I was probably roaming room to room or something. But I remember, I don't know if it was Swiderski or who it was, but I remember them coming up, and their face was all red because just the cold and the snow.
Yeah.
And their hair was wet and they were all wet. And everybody's like, what? And they're angry.
One of the cadets.
Yeah, one of the cadets.
Yeah.
had basically they had tackled them and rubbed their face in the snow and did all that to them, and it just triggered in me. I was like, "What? You can't do that to us." You know what I mean?
Oh.
And I remember like, let's get our boots on. We started putting our combat boots on, our BDU bottoms and our t-shirt or whatever. And I was like, we're going out after them.
And you guys have been doing PT. I mean, you guys are fit.
Well, I would say that majority of ROTC cadets are more, at an engineering school are more like, we came from backgrounds of sports and things like that. I mean, I wasn't very big. I was, but there are other people, but we were like, this is it. We're going, like, we're not going to let this happen.
Wow.
So I remember we went out there and there was a little bit of a scuffle.
This is a movie right here.
Well, I don't know about that, but but there was a little bit of a scuffle out front, and kind of got a little bit, and then they ran off, and it was like a little bit like, that's going to be the end of it. But what happened was, and the girls came out. We had like 5 or 6 ROTC girls and stuff. And they came out and they made a snowman, right? So they built this nice little snowman in the front, and it was all pleasant and everything. Well, the very next day, this had to be like on a Thursday morning. That had to happen on a Wednesday.
Okay.
It's weird that I can remember like that. But because Thursday morning, they had knocked down the snowman.
Who?
The
fraternity.
The fraternity had. And they then, over by their place, built this... I mean, it was a very massive snowman. It was like 8 foot tall. I don't know how they were able to do it. And so they built this really big snowman. And I remember they were like, that's a snowman, not your, this snowman.
Yes.
And so.
Insult us again.
Yeah, insulted us again. And so I remember I'm sitting in the one class and we're talking. And now we have, in the afternoon, we have our ROTC class. So we're all the ROTC cadets. The Army guys are all in there. And we're talking, and I'm like, that's it. We're getting them tonight now. We're going to get them. So I remember going around to everybody.
This is mission strategy time here.
Yeah, this was like the first military operation I ever planned.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell us the plan.
Well, I just remember going table to table. I remember actually walking like in between breaks or whatever it was, going like person to person at the table, like sitting at their desk. I was like, tonight when we're done with this is what we're going to do. Like, we're going to have a small team go up there and flush them out.
Yeah.
And I need everybody else to be out there in their combat boots.
Diversion.
And, well, the diversion team will go up there. Everybody else is going to be hiding because like I said, you have the quad, you have this big open field, and then you have the street between us. And cars parked along the street.
Yeah.
So all of us would be hiding behind.
Okay. You're placing
cars,
people,
along the cars, so that way when they'll see like only a few people out there messing with their snowman.
You're trying to draw them out of the fraternity,
and then we would rush them and we would whitewash, like snow, rub their face in the snow,
and
attack them like they've been doing to us. So it was all planned out. So I'd like to take credit for this next phase, but I mean, I said creative diversion, and a couple of creative kids. They said, I think the other kid's name was Jeremy. I know it was Jeremy was part of it. There was a couple of Jeremy, I think Aaron, a couple Aarons, I think, and a few other people.
Yes.
They came up with this idea like, well, let's douse this snowman in gasoline. You can't, this massive
and light it on fire.
And light it on fire. So I'm like, I remember I just paused for a moment like,
genius.
Yeah, this is good. And sure enough,
they did it.
Yeah, so it's like one of those things where you get this like in any military operation, right? You got to make room for creativity, and that's what they did. Like the plan was a diversion, right? I was thinking like we go up to like throw snowballs at their door, like at their windows a little bit and stuff, and kind of flush them out. They would see there's like 5 people out there, and they would come out with like 15 and then we'd rush them with 40. No, these guys showed up. They pulled up with a car, and they hop out, and they go up, and they just douse the snowman with gasoline, and I remember I'm back there. We got all our guys. We're all lined up behind there, and I remember I'm watching behind parked cars, and I'm watching. It's like we're like hold, right, and they're dousing it, and then they catch that thing on fire, And sure enough, people asking, like, nobody has ever seen a burning snowman. I've seen a burning snowman. And that thing lit up on fire and it was burning. And then they're all there and then they start throwing, and just like it did work out. There was like 4 or 5 of them. They're throwing snowballs at them. And sure enough, they come out. So then they come out.
The fraternity house empties out.
Yeah, but there's only, and it's, I think there were like 15 to 20 of them.
Yeah.
I don't remember how many there were.
You liked your odds.
Yeah, like I knew we had them. I knew we had them.
And then what happened?
Yeah, then as they...
Now, wait, we got to go to commercial. No, good.
But yeah, the other, so then everybody, they retreated back towards, and they're chasing them. And literally then we just come out from behind all the cars. And we have snowballs made, and then... You
mean they're chasing the culprits to the fire toward you, your position.
Us. Yep, towards us. And as they come out, and then we just hit them. And we had like some slingshots, like those, those water balloon slingshots.
Yeah,
we had those. And anyways, we started just hitting them. And they had a couple of those too somehow. I don't know who brought them out.
All right,
but I remember then they were hitting us pretty good with those. And I remember I was just like, we got to take that out. And I remember I charged the one.
Oh my!
I just blindly ran in and jumped on top of it and the people that were doing it. And then they all jumped on top of me, but we had them way outnumbered. And
did they tap out? Did they?
Yeah, they eventually tapped out. What happened was so one of the guys who was a senior, he had come out.
Cops didn't show up or anything.
No, I don't remember how we ended up. I remember double legging. I was a wrestler, so I was known for like kind of using wrestling. I remember double legging one guy, taking him down, and he was like a senior. I remember.
Oh my!
And I had him down, and then he was he was a senior, but he was kind of stocky, but he was shorter. And somebody said, "Won't you pick on some of your own size?" I'm thinking, I weigh like $135. Right? I'm not very big, but this guy was pretty. He was like 6'2". He's a pretty big guy, and he's like, "Won't you pick on someone?" I was like, "You." So I double legged him. I remember I took him down.
Oh my!
And it's one of those ones where I don't want to tell the story because I always love hearing other people tell the story.
All right.
If one of my friends from
if you're
school,
watching this,
they would tell the story. They would be
in.
Like, because they remember when I did double leg, took them down, and I put them in the guillotine. And but that kind of ended it. Like that was the end of the battle. Was right around there because we had too many of them, and they kind of had to retreat back to their fraternity.
But you got found out as the planner, the organizer.
Yeah. So what happened is then. Which is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of sad. Like they went, and I a lot of these guys I do like now, just so you know, the fraternity guys. I feel bad, like, because later we kind of like become friends and stuff like that. But
it's good to know they might still be planning the revenge.
Yeah, not that they'd ever hear this. I don't know if any of them.
I see.
They'd be like, "Oh, I remember that," But yeah, so they turned us in. And they said we damaged their property and stuff. And so then we're like, nah, I think you guys
burning their snowman.
We just damaged your egos. That's all we did. But yeah, so then
and they called you out. They named you.
Yeah, so then all of a sudden one day I get called down to the dorm. There's a conference room in the dormitory area. I think that's where it was. And I walk in there and they have me and they have most of the snowman crew and a few other people. There was like 10 of us or 12 of us.
All right.
There's the head of like dean of students or whatever,
right.
The dorm dean there. And then our ROTC professor, the one captain, he's there. And we're all sitting there and I'm like, oh goodness, we're in trouble. What's going on? And I just remember the captain, he just goes, all right, Jeremy, you were the commander. Who were your lieutenants? That's what he says to me. And I'm like, I just again, I'm not that serious of a person, right? Yeah. I literally just, it's like a chuckle almost, right? Like,
yeah. And
I was like, I don't know who you're talking about, right? I'm not going to rat out anybody else. I'm going to go down with this ship or whatever. And so he, I think like the captain was somewhat proud. I think he was proud of the operation. And I think he ended up being somewhat proud of that. I didn't rat the lieutenants
You
out.
didn't rat the lieutenants out.
Yeah. But I do remember somebody.
So then you all left and they made a determination what to happen.
Yeah, I think one of the lieutenants, one of the other cadets kind of like, a few other people then chimed in and say it wasn't just Jeremy, it was like all of us and kind of thing. And we all bonded together and took, but at the end of the day, they end up doing nothing. They and basically kind of, I guess we got like just told, hey, this is wrong. You shouldn't have done it.
Wow.
But I think they also hadn't heard our story. I think that was part of it too. Once they heard our story, you know, like, hey, this is what happened the day before. This is what was going on. And it was all fun and games, but we didn't cause any damage.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this really, you said this is like my first operation.
Yeah, that might have been my first planned I don't think I've ever. Yeah, that was.
Anybody take any pictures of this?
There is a photo somewhere. I need to find the flaming snowman somewhere. There is. If
anybody has a flaming snowman photo,
yeah, I might be the one. I might have it. Somebody has it. I've seen the picture of the flaming snowman.
Wow. All right. Most unpredictable life. That's what you are, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Let's move to the spring and summer. This is your next semester at school. And you're doing the board games and everything.
Yeah.
And you're doing the technology and all of that. Take me back to home. What's going on with home? What's going on with mom?
Well, yeah. I think, you know, we talked about, or maybe we did, I guess we haven't talked about it, but yeah, so it's like, I remember it's you know, school's going well, everything's moving along really well, and I get this phone call, and it's my mom, and she needs me to bail her out of jail.
She's in jail.
She's in jail.
Is she in California?
You know, I don't remember exactly where she was. I thought it was Texas, but my mom had been moving around a lot. I mean, my mom, and we'll get into that, you know, in other episodes of where we lived, and then she moved. So she was in either California or Texas. I want to think it was Texas.
And she's been arrested.
And she's been arrested.
And she wants you to bail her out.
Yeah, and I don't remember why. My guess, it was probably another DUI or something along those lines. And she calls me, and she's like, hey, I need I think it was like $900 or something.
All right.
And of course,
what do you do?
I'm a college kid. I don't have $900. It might even been more than that. But she's like, hey, she didn't ask me to bail her out, really. She said, this is what I need you to do. So she didn't call me and ask me to bail her out. She called me and said, hey, can you get a hold of your uncle? I need you to call your uncle Louis Moravy. And Louis. And anyways, I need you to get a hold of him and ask him to bail me out and get the bail money. It's like $900 or something like that. And I remember listening to her and thinking, like, this is kind of a hard ask.
Yeah.
But she gave me his number, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I did. I remember calling Louis up, and I mean, I haven't talked to Louis.
If she had his number, she didn't want to call him himself. She wanted you to do it.
Yeah, she wanted me.
He would say yes to you quicker than to her.
That was her hope, I think, was
right.
Was that he would say yes.
And what happened?
Yes to me. So yeah, I get a hold of Louis, and I remember, you know, I hadn't talked to him, and Louis was I remember Louis was a little kid, so he was like, you know, like he's just a prominent man. Right? In my mind, you know, Louis had it all figured out. Like Louis, he was, you know, he had a beautiful home, his family, you know, he's been very steady, you know, but he, you know, and he's a funny guy, but like you know, strict. Again, a big, funny, happy. I mean, like, again, I love Louis and Joanne. They were my aunt and uncle. When I was around them, I loved it. But, you know, you just looked up to them in a way. Right. So this was like going to be hard. So I called him up, and I remember, and like I said, I don't even know how many years it had been since I talked to him. And I'm like, hey, Louis, this is Jeremy. My mom called and asked me if you could send her money to bail her out of jail. And he was just like, well, where is she? You know, kind of thing. Go through that little stuff. Yeah. And then he's like, I remember he paused, and he's just like, listen, I'm not going to bail her out. And he said, if you know what's best, he goes, whatever. I don't know if you have any money, but basically said, don't you bail her out either. He said, listen, she needs like this. She needs to just learn her lesson. And, you know, now that I'm older, I definitely know what he meant by that. Right.
Yeah.
You know, she had kind of, you know, had gone through and escaped and ran from the law and things like that. Again, I love my mom, but that was one of those things where I realized, yeah, he was right, you know. But at the time, I was like, oh, good. More of me, it was more like, oh, I got to call my mom now.
Right.
And tell her no. And I don't know how that's going to work out. So, and again, I don't know if she had already been bailed out somehow. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, the process was, I think, through the story. Right. But, and she just wanted to pay the bail service, because that leads into this next time. So I call her back. She must have already been bailed out, and she was looking to pay the bail bond.
Okay.
Which doesn't make sense because when you show up to bail, when you show up to court, so she must have skipped again is what was going on.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure this all out because it doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
But so she must have.
So you call her back and say it's not happening.
I call her back and say, hey, he's not going to do it. And then she says to me, she's like, all right. Because now she's definitely bailed out because that's what it is. Because she says to me, okay, this is what I want you to do. She goes, I want you to go get a money order. And she asked me if I had $250. I probably barely had. It's the end of the school year, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd worked all through the summer. I didn't work through the school year. I'd park my car. I'd drop my insurance on it. So I would drive my car to the parking lot, park it, drop my insurance on it, leave it sit there all year long until it was time to go back home at the end of the school year.
Yeah.
Then I'd pick my insurance up again. So I didn't have to pay any insurance, no gas, nothing on the car. So, but it's the end of the school year, so I'm running out of money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's like, it's $250. And $250 in 92 is still a lot of money.
Yeah.
Especially to a college kid.
Right.
And nothing. So she told me she'd go get a money order. So I went and got the money order. And I'm pretty confident. I had the receipt somewhere for a long time.
Yeah.
I need to try to find it. But it was like A1 Bail Bond Service was the company. And she said, all right, put $250 on there, send it to this address, and then write on it for the address, return address, put 525. So I put my address from when I lived in Worcester, Ohio, 525 Apartment B, Highland Avenue.
It was
Highland
nobody's
Avenue,
address in the family anymore.
No. And I'm mailing it from Chicago. So she was like hoping that if they ever came looking for her, they would look for her either in Chicago or in Worcester, Ohio, because that's the return address. And
this is your mother asking her 19-year-old son.
Probably. Yeah, it might have been. No, I was probably 18 at that time, but yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of well, that's my freshman year. So, I'm 19. Yeah, I'm 19 at that point. So, yeah, she was just asking me to do that. And I did. So I went and I mailed it off. And like I said, I had the receipt. You know how like when you in triplicate for a money order, I had the receipt for it. And I remember doing all that.
And Mom,
I don't know whatever happened.
Mom was married.
So I think she was married. I don't know when she got married. I could probably look this up online.
Yeah.
When she got married to her fourth husband. Yeah.
Fourth husband. What's his name?
Dave. Yep.
Dave. And you told me that Dave
Dave number 2.
Dave
There's 2
2.
Daves. We have to make sure because Dave 1 was right before it.
Okay.
So my mom was married to my dad, Glenn, and then married to Keith, then married to Dave 1, and then Dave 2.
And he wants to join the Army.
Oh yeah, yeah. So he's
tell me that story.
Dave is, I don't know. My mom's passed away. Dave's, I don't know the exact gap in age. I want to say it's somewhere between 15 and 20 year age difference between my mom and Dave too.
Dave's younger.
Yeah, a lot younger. And so then, so one day, also, right, I remember this was like right before I'm getting ready to graduate. I'm on the phone and I'm sitting there and I'm talking to Dave. It's more funny if I just, but I'm sitting there I'm just talking through stuff.
When you say graduate.
Or not graduate. I'm getting ready to finish my freshman year.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to, I apologize. You guys are going to notice so many of these where I mess it up.
Well, your son, you keep saying he's graduating from different levels of military training.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, was this after the freshman year as a cadet, do you graduate?
No, you don't. You don't.
All right. After your freshman, it's coming to the end of your freshman year.
Yeah, it's coming to the end of my freshman year. And so I'm talking to Dave and everything. And Dave too. And I just remember my roommate, I get off the phone and because I was helping him with math and stuff. And he's like, oh, you helping your younger brother with math?
Oh my.
And I say, no, that's my stepdad. He's going to take the ASVAB. And
what's that mean?
That's the entrance, that's the entrance test. So everybody takes the ASVAB. If you probably took the ASVAB, you just didn't know it. A lot of schools you take it your junior year. If you haven't, some like our school, I think everybody took the ASVAB, and it's the test. I don't know what it stands for. It's
right.
But it's basically the test that determines your ability and score when you go into the military.
Okay,
you have to score your score on that will determine what your career field and opportunities are going to be while you're in the military.
So if somebody goes to a recruiting office, they give them this test.
Yep. Yeah. Noah took it when you. Yeah.
All right. Tell me about the summer after your freshman year, you were in Airborne school?
Yeah, so
what's that mean?
Yeah, so fortunately, going into my that summer, it's you're a freshman and they give you an opportunity, and it's a competitive thing too. So I remember I was super excited when I found out I got selected.
Okay. So it's a paid gig.
Yeah, you get paid like
or room and board or whatever.
Yeah, you get paid a little bit while you're there, but it's just an honor to be able to. Of course, I think I say, well, maybe only 10 people showed up and 10 people got selected, but my understanding is like a good portion of the cadets signed up to be, and I was fortunate to get selected to go to Airborne school during that summer. So
where was it?
At Fort Benning, Georgia, and that's the first time like there's so many things I don't know, right? And went off to college, and now as I finished my freshman year, I'm working throughout the summer. Actually, it was this time of 1993 that I was at Airborne, because I remember I was over there over 4th of July. It's a 3-week school.
Oh, it's a 3-week school. They teach you how to fly, teach you how to jump out of planes?
How to jump out of airplanes, yep.
Are you kidding me?
No, that's it, yeah.
Had you ever jumped out of an airplane?
I had never jumped out of an airplane before, yeah.
And they taught you how to do this?
Yeah, and I think what was more interesting about it is the fact that I got to learn what the real military was like.
Yeah. And you've told me in the past that you sometimes give advice to people going into like a boot camp or something. Don't stand out.
Yeah, don't stand out.
But you stood out.
I did seem to stand out.
By doing what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I couldn't. I just, when they would go off and yell at people, I just thought it was I would smile. Even when they're yelling at me. Because I was a cadet, right? I'm not really in the Army in my mind.
So Airborne school, they're not teaching you. They are teaching you skills, but it's a bit of a drill sergeant.
Yeah. You're living in the barracks. You gotta get yelled at by they have the sergeant airborne, they call them. Yes, Sergeant Airborne. No, Sergeant Airborne. And I hadn't done any of that kind of stuff. Even as a cadet, we really didn't like as a cadet, you're learning drill and ceremony. You're learning that.
But your captain's not yelling at you.
Not really.
He's bailing you out of lighting snowman.
Yeah. He's bailing out from burning snowmen up and stuff like that. But yeah, there was nothing really that But that was my first. Yeah, that was my first time with say a basic training.
And you thought it was funny.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I would laugh.
Did you get in trouble for that?
Yeah, I got in a lot of trouble. So I remember I show up. They fly you down there, and I don't know what's going on. I just assume everything's going to be taken care of. But I show up, and there's something wrong with my physical, and they're like, "Listen, you need to go." Like the in-processing person is like, you get there's like different worlds in the military, and this one I got sent to the personnel office. Like somebody called me out and said, "Hey, you need to go to the personnel office." Like day one, so I'm like, okay, whatever that means, but. I go there, I found the guy, and there's just probably a specialist or whatever. Now I know he's probably a specialist. He's like, look, here's your physical. What's wrong? You got to have this. I need you to go to the clinic and get this checked out, right? But I'm like, okay, I got to go to the clinic. So I started asking around, like, hey, does anybody know where the clinic is? And somebody's like, oh, it's next to the Airborne Museum. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know where the Airborne Museum is. So I thought, well, the best thing to do is you
start walking.
Well, you walk into the dorm. Well, there's a dorm, we're in dorms, the barracks, or where we stay. In the basement, downstairs, or the ground floor, there's offices where the Sergeant Airbornes all have their meetings and get together. So I thought, well, I'll walk in there and ask one of them.
Yes, one of them.
Yeah, where I'm going. So I remember I walk up and I see the doors open. So I just walk in, and there's a desk at the end of it, and there's the main big Sergeant Airborne, who's probably like an E8, which I don't know what that means at the time yet, really. Right. And then there's couches along the side, and there's just all these Sergeant Airbornes, like probably 3 to 4 on each side. So there's probably 7 or more of these Sergeant Airbornes at different lower level ranks, and they're having some type of meeting. But I just whoop right into the office, and I walk in, and I remember seeing 2 feet painted on the floor, right? Like there's where you're supposed to stand probably. But I remember just walking right in there, whoever, and being like, and I go, hey, anybody know where the museum is?
No, you did not.
I did, yeah. I'm like, does anybody know where the museum is? Can you tell me where the museum is? And oh my goodness, at that point, I just start hearing, oh no, Airborne. Oh, and it's like they all have it together. It's chatter. Oh no, Airborne. Oh, can you believe what are you think? Oh my goodness. And I'm using nice words, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
This is back in 93. They would would cuss you out really quickly. Like, so they're saying a lot worse. Like, and then all of a sudden they just all stand up and they're all surrounding me now. I mean, I'm like in civilian clothes and I've got these guys in their military fatigues with their hats on or whatever.
This is how you started.
Yeah, my
the summer.
And they're like, what do you think? You just got here and you already want to go to the museum? Well, you think this is a resort? You think you're on vacation, Airborne? What is your problem? Beat your face. And that's what they have you do. And I'm like, beat your face? I don't even know what beat your face is.
What is it?
Yeah, it's get down and do push-ups, right? Beat your face, beat your boots. That's what they say to you nonstop. Beat your face is push-ups. Beat your boot is this knee bender where you squat. And anyway, so they're smoking me in there, yelling at me.
And then, you're doing it.
Well, at first I didn't understand. I'm looking at them, which makes them more angry. It's like walking into a hornet's nest.
Oh,
but then you're poking at the hornet's nest with sticks, right? You didn't just walk into it. You started digging in it with some sticks. And that's exactly what I did, unintentionally though.
Oh, and, like that mattered.
Yeah. Well, anyways, then they just tell me to get the heck out of there.
Yeah.
Like, after they smoke me, they're like, get out of here.
You still don't know where the clinic is.
Nope, no clue. No clue where the clinic or the museum is. So I remember I just start walking.
My goodness.
Yeah, I remember I just start walking, and I'm like thinking, what in the world? How am I? And this truck pulls up, and the guy, fortunately, he just goes, hey, well, you need a ride? That's what he says. You need a ride? I'm like, yeah, I don't know where I'm going. I'm supposed to go to I'm looking for the museum. Of course, I don't know why I didn't ever say the clinic. And he's like, all right, why are you going to the museum? I said, I'm trying to go to the clinic. He said, oh, you should have said so. I'll take you to the clinic. So anyway, this lieutenant, I hop, he's like, he's a lieutenant. I know that's what I'm working towards. But,
yeah.
And anyways, he was a nice kid. And I say kid, he was older than me. I was a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gave me a ride to the clinic. I get that all kind of squared away and get back. And then, yeah, so then I was in for a long 3 weeks though. I think I pulled more duty in the history of Fort Benning or in the history of Airborne School than any other probably.
What does pull duty mean?
So basically that means like every night and every weekend you're on some type of duty. Like, so I cleaned, like I would go out and they'd have me clean, like pull dumpsters out. Like I guess imagine all the dumpsters. There's people, I assume every restaurant has somebody that does this every once in a while, but they had a detail. That's what I would do. I would pull the dumpsters out with another guy that was suffering for some reason and clean out all the trash because, as people are throwing the trash away, some of the trash goes over top and behind it. And so we would bag that up and we had a pickup truck and we'd throw it in the back. So, and I would just ride. We'd go dumpster to dumpster to dumpster, pick all that up. And then I would just ride. I had to ride in the back of the truck. And I remember I didn't seem to mind. I was laying on top of these bags of garbage and I would just take a nap while we're going out to the dump. And then we get out to the dump and then we'd throw the garbage, back it up. And it's just a cliff full of, that's the first, that was one of the first times I got to see a real dump was when you pull up.
Don't you think it's a rite of passage to go to a dump?
Yeah, I think so, but to go up all the way to the top up there and you see all the seagulls and birds and the big hole and then you just throw the stuff. Yeah, I threw that down in there. It was all smelly and everything. But it was so hot, right? You're in Fort Benning, Georgia in the middle of June, end of June, early July. And just sweating. But the car ride or the truck ride, you're outside, the wind cool you off from your sweat. But
there's a Gatorade story?
Oh, yeah. So then, man, I had so many.
This is still an Airborne.
I had a lot of bad stories, to be honest with you. I could make a whole episode on Airborne. Yeah, so this kid Boo Heister, I befriend him. And because he was like one of my bunkmates or whatever, I think he was actually, I don't know if he was a cadet or he was like a private in the Army. I can't remember. He might have been a cadet because you're mixed in with like active duty and reserve soldiers.
All right.
So you have people that are privates or, PFCs coming through, specialists, sergeants, some lieutenants and officers going through. We had a whole bunch of Navy SEALs in our class.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. A whole bunch of Navy SEALs. They were pretty low key and fun and nice. And they worked out nonstop. They were all pretty built, and here I'm this little skinny, lanky freshman in college. But, so Boo Heister and I don't know what we were walking in the front entrance as we're walking and it's really, you go around the corner and that's where that office was.
Okay.
Well, coming around the corner as we're walking comes a Sergeant Airborne carrying, he had a donut and a Gatorade in his hand.
Yeah.
And Boo Heister, I'm on the inside. Boo Heister's on the outside of the wall. And Boo Heister runs right into him, and he drops his donut. So the Sergeant Airborne donut it's like slow motion, like no, as you watch the donut hit the ground. And then the Sergeant Airborne was furious, right? He just looks at the donut on the ground, looks at us. He's got that donut in his hand. He's got the Gatorade in his other hand. And Gatorade bottles at this time are still glass.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
do you remember glass Gatorade bottles?
I don't, but I believe you.
Yeah, they were glass still at this time. It's a red Gatorade. He takes that Gatorade bottle and just throws it at the wall right above my head. It hits the wall, just shatters, and I just get glass and red Gatorade.
You didn't run into him.
No, I didn't, but I happened to be the guy against the wall. So
and you've been the guy that walked into the room on day one and said, hey.
Yeah, I don't, yeah. Hey, where's the museum? And so the shower of red Gatorade, and then the Sergeant Airborne's like, now clean this up.
Yeah.
Right? And, so we're now scurrying. I got Gatorade. I'm all soaking wet from red Gatorade all over me. And then we got to go get a broom and a mop and clean it all up. As he walks out of there. But yeah, that was my first experience with the Army. Was that you couldn't escape Sergeant Airborne's. They'd make me go, and they'd tell me they had us raking a field. They're like, all right, Airborne, go rake that field over there. I need you guys going to go rake that whole field. And I'm like, okay. And I remember asking them, I'm like, where are the rakes? Again, wrong answer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how they always would do, like, oh, what Airborne? What, like that's how they would talk, like, but with cuss words in between.
Yes.
There. And you don't need. You think you don't get a rake, right? No. And they would be like, how do you think you're going to do it then if you don't have a rake? And I was like, I don't know. They're like, yeah, no, get over there and you pick them all up. So we had to pick up all the leaves by hand and put them in a pile. Yeah, they just pile them, raking them at a pretty big field. I remember it was like a parade field, and we're out there just picking up leaves with our hands.
And you don't have any choices. You don't say I'm out of here. They own you.
Well, pretty much, yeah. I don't know why. Yeah, I mean, you want to graduate, right? So
yeah, this is your only path. And
yeah, I wanted to be airborne. I wanted to jump out of airplane and get my little badge.
You still haven't told me about. You've actually jumped out. They teach you how to parachute.
Yeah, so yep, you go through week 1 is ground week, and you start off like jumping off like an 8-foot little thing into a sawdust thing. Well, they teach you PLF, a parachute landing fall. You do a lot of PT, a lot of running, a lot of sweating. You have to do pull-ups before you go into chow hall. So there's pull-up bars in front of the chow hall, and you have to do 10 of them before you're allowed to go in. And you first learn parachute landing fall, then you do it. You're jumping off like a 6 or 8 foot. I don't know how it is, and you're landing into a salt pit. And then eventually you get to tower week. That's the second week, and that when you're on it's a 35-foot tower, and you're strapped into this thing. It's kind of fun. You jump out. It's like a mock-up of an airplane. It's like a zip line. You go down a zip line, and you're doing that. And then there's a 250-foot tower. They drop you out of that, and
you're not parachuting yet.
No, not yet.
You're ziplining.
And then your last week is jump week. And then the third week, you jump out of the airplane. And so 93, we had C-130s and 141s. And you actually, we would say you actually used to jump out of the airplane back in 1993. In 93, you would stand in the door, and you stand up there. But there's like, I don't know how many in a chalk. I should probably know this, but
there's 15, a line in your
static line. Yep. So you hook up.
Everybody's belayed or whatever.
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door. So yeah, they'll be like, inboard people, personnel, stand up. It's funny. This is 33 years ago or whatever. They're like, inboard personnel, stand up. Outboard personnel, stand up. And then you have to. I don't know if they say hook up, but I remember you take your static line, you hook it up, and then you have to do your equipment checks or like. Sound off for equipment checks. And then, first you got to do them. So you run your hand down your static cord, make sure it's like properly going over your arm.
Okay.
And then you run like your hand over your chin and then across your down, make sure your straps are good. And then you do your reserve on your front. Like you do this equipment check, basically. It's funny. I kind of remember it. And then they say, all right, sound off for equipment check. And then everybody slaps the person in front of them in their rear end. You're like, hey, okay. And then so you're hitting the person in the front in their butt. And then the person that's right in front at the very front of it, he basically gives a scissor hand and goes, all okay, or all okay, jump master.
Yeah.
And then the light turns green. And they say stand. Well, it's not green yet. They got a warning, I guess. And then they say, stand in the door. And the first person will stand in the door. And then that light turns from red to green. And then it's go. And that whole group, like 20 people, might be 15.
Do you wait 1 second apiece or something?
No, you just go right out. But it's like you go out and then that person, back then you had to jump. So you'd like kind of push off with your arms. And there was Now you just walk out. The C-141, you would just walk out at an angle. And I think all C-130s now, from what I heard, you just walk out. So you just go out and it's just like one after the other. It's like, woo, woo, woo. And you think you escape because you jump, you go out the door.
Is it an automatic pull when
it's a static line. Yep, the static line that you hooked up.
Yeah.
You got to. That's why you got to make sure it goes and it's hecked up and it's.
So it's pulling the line.
It pulls the line.
Releasing the chute.
And it it's like noisy and whoo, and then it's quiet just for about, I don't know, because you got to count. You got to do your oh goodness. Anyways, you count to 4. Jump right out, count to 4, right? And then you check your risers, right? So that 4 seconds, you're kind of, it's just coming out. And then there's this moment of silence. And you're like, oh, it's kind of cool. And then sure enough, those jump masters, they were yelling at you in the plane. They got, all of a sudden you hear them yelling at you. You're 1,200 feet in the air. They got bullhorns down there. They're like, they're yelling at you. They're like, get your feet.
Did you like it?
Oh, yeah, I loved it. It was a good time. It was hot. It was sweaty. But a funny thing was,
did you jump a lot in your career?
No. You do 5. I was at 5. What you call 5 jump chump. So 5 jump chump is somebody who went to Airborne school, did their 5 jumps at Airborne school, and then never jumped again. I get to wear the little Airborne wings, right? It's on my record. It was on my uniform.
Yeah.
Which when you're a freshman going in your sophomore year, to be able to sew those wings on your uniform and wear them around, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But a funny story so. I jumped 5 times. I forget which jump it was, second or third. I don't know which one it was. But we're getting ready to go out, and the kid in front of me, right before we're getting ready to go out, just drops to his knees. So he just drops right to his knees. So it's
in the airplane.
In the airplane. He's like, I'm not going. He decides he's not going. And so he stops, and I'm stuck now, right? And I remember, and they're like, go, go, go. And he's not. He's on his knees. He's like, I'm not going. And so they grab him, and they throw him into the back of the airplane. Like, they just throw him against the cargo net that's on the back. And they swarm on it. Like Sergeant Airborne's, they just swarm. They're like, and you could see the scissor hands going at them. Like, listen, they're giving them the what for pretty good. And basically they're telling them, like, you're going to go. And then you're like, look, because we've missed our pass. So they're like, you're going to be the first one in the door when we come back around. So they put him first one in the door. So he's standing there. They got him all set up. And so when he stands in the door, he's got to put his hands up and he's got his like one leg forward. He's got his foot there ready to go. And then they're like waiting. And then the light turned green and they're like, jump. And he didn't go. And then you could just boom, the foot right into his back. And out he went. And then they look at me and I just was like, I'm going. You don't need to kick me.
Wow.
And we went on out. But I remember him falling to the ground. He kind of buckled a little bit. He was like, I'm not doing it for a second. And then, which maybe that was the first jump because you think he would have got used to it the second one.
But he went through them all, or did he?
Yeah, no, I think I believe he ended up graduating.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no pun intended, but let's land the plane.
Land? Are we that far? Did we make it that far?
Yeah, that's so good. Let's tell you. So you had the wedding, you had the fugitive mom, you had the reconnection with dad, you had Second South. You had that crazy Christmas party. You had the flaming snowman and your first military operation.
Yeah.
And Airborne school, get your wings. Give me some takeaways from this episode. And let me give you this here. Some of these takeaways there.
Yeah, I think, as you go through it all, right? I know what was here, but I think I like number 3, I had on written down here, but like keep smiling. Keep smiling. even though you're going to get some extra duty from it.
Okay.
And I remember my Sergeant Rodriguez there were 2 people I remember for Airborne, Sergeant Rodriguez and Sergeant Smith. And I remember thinking, if I ever find Sergeant Smith, but because he treated me pretty poorly. Like I had to clean out bus stops. I remember they had me go clean bus stops and like scraping the bubble gum off the concrete. My. And I cleaned every bus stop at Fort Benning with a power washer.
Did they think your smile meant you didn't take it seriously?
I think so. I think for me, it's just, I learned I do have, like, if I get nervous or something, I'll smile.
Yeah.
And I've learned other people do that too, which I will say as a leader, sometimes that is frustrating. You're like, what's really like, but I think it's just the nervousness, but or it's honestly, that's my reaction to things sometimes. It's just, keep smiling, keep moving forward. And have good friends. I mean, through this, through all this, right. I had some really good people. I met like these lifelong friends. I mean, the Second South crew, we're still Second South, right? Like we have t-shirts. I have a t-shirt downstairs. That's what I should have done was wear maybe I'll wear it one episode, my Second South t-shirt that I still have.
Yeah.
Which is South Hall, Illinois Tech. If you do the acronym on it, I'll let you.
All right.
But it's not necessarily clean. But South Hall, Illinois Tech was what we had. We were the second, whatever. And but those friends and family just get you through things. Like everywhere you go, you got to find people, and then people like allowing for healing and grace.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't pretty much ready, probably for that in a way.
Right.
Thank God Deb was.
Yeah.
Like she kind of saw that needed to happen. And I don't know if her and Dad had a conversation ahead of time or it was something that she alone did on her own. But it definitely, right, from that point forward, after that happened, it was like that. My dad and I reconciled and it led to my stepmom and I reconciling. And we had an amazing relationship after that and just drew closer and closer. So you got to be open to that. And don't there's some crazy stuff that happens, right? And this is, it's weird to think about. I think, well, bailing my mom out of jail or my mom, coming to Ohio as a fugitive, like that's really not even that big of a story. You know what I mean? In some ways, but and why is that? I think it's because you kind of this life happens, but your willingness just to be able to accept it and
there is something united about battling with a team of people. And whether it's a snowman or the battlefield.
Absolutely.
And you'd say, find your Second Souths, find your platoon, find your whatever.
Yep.
And life's going to be unpredictable.
Absolutely.
But you have a Second Souths.
Well, in the Army, we talk about battle buddies and how important battle buddies are. Have your battle buddy. And I have so many battle buddies. And over the year, like, there are people, I think of Mass Sergeant Hunter, or Offit, her name was Offit Hunter when I worked with her, but Missy, I guess she goes by now. But she'd always call me her battle. You know what I mean? And why we were. She worked. I was a major at the time, and she was a master sergeant. And she led, like, again, so many great NCOs that I had. She led me, helped me get through so many tough times in the military and things. But I had her as a battle buddy, and I still do. It's funny. I can text her right now.
Yeah.
And we'll probably be able to lead right. If I called her up, we'd leave right off. We'd laugh. First, we'd just probably laugh, right? The two of us would be like, we just start laughing. She has this amazing, funny laugh. But, you got to have those people. You got to have your battle buddies.
Wow.
And so find one if you don't, but realize.
And, I don't know this. You're military. I'm not. But some of the most prestigious awards are for those who don't let their battle buddy stay behind. I mean, you go get them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No soldier left behind, right? And you're right. Yeah, like you think about the Medal of Honor, right? The Medal of Honor is because someone gave their life or was severely wounded in the process of trying to save or help somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's valor right there, yeah. Not letting anybody fall.
Oh, I'm getting emotional. It's 4th of July weekend and...
Yeah, 250th, I mean, yeah.
I mean, what those people did as civilians, not even they were volunteer Army.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic episode. I'm sure people got a lot out of that in your stories and the unpredictable life. What are we looking forward to next time?
Well, so I guess we go back to 1979, you know what I mean? Okay. So we think of the song 1979. Again, we'll probably bleed into 78, 79, I think.
Yeah.
Because we didn't talk about the blizzard and things like that. So
no.
So we'll talk about
8, 9 years old and
Yeah, well, let's see. 78, I'd be 5.
5.
4
I'm
to 5.
Graduating high school.
Yeah. What we didn't do though, and I know we got to make sure we include what you were doing in 19. So we'll definitely talk a little bit about 1978, 79.
Yes.
A little more.
1992. I wasn't listening to Smashing Pumpkins and
What were you doing? Anything you want to share?
Well, I had switched careers from being a band director to being a pastor.
And that was, what year was that?
1990.
Wow.
And in 92, I was listening to more Christian music. People that were popular at the time were Michael W. Smith and Amy Grant and DC Talk. And I was listening to them and trying to figure out what music could go well with the church and things like that.
Yeah.
And we were starting our family. We started young. We had 3 kids in 3 years. So those whirlwind years.
Yeah, that's a lot of kids. 3 kids in 3 years.
We had 3 kids in diapers. Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then we waited 5 more years and had our baby.
I don't know if it was awesome for you guys at the time, but you think about it. 3
bit
kids.
of a blur.
Yeah.
Bit of a blur.
But a blessing all the way through. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, hey, this looks like we're wrapping up here, and this was 1992 to 93. And thanks for listening. And we'll see you all next week. Thanks for listening.